Here I was asked to lay some pavers for a retired couple. Until recently they were very independent when it came to DIY, but had some health problems, so they asked me to help. They had bought a summer house at the beginning of October with over 50% off, and even with me building it, they could still be quids in. When I called around, they had roughly marked out the area that they wanted it. Originally they wanted a floating foundation, like a sand pit. I did point out, with one good downfall, all the sand would be washed away, even with the pavers on the top of them. We eventually came to a compromise. I would lay one course of bricks and cement them together to limit the sand from draining away. Besides, where it was going to be built, it was quite sheltered anyway. They asked me to make a shopping list of the items that they needed to order. They told me they already had some pavers that were red and 400 by 400 in size. So I did, and they ordered the materials. Since it was October, the job had to be put off several times until there was a break in the weather. The first job was to roughly mark out where the first course of bricks were to be laid, and that I had maximised the pavers, reducing the amount I had to cut. Next, to dig out at least 6 inches of soil that would be replaced with the sand. Once this was done, a membrane was laid down to prevent weeds, etc. from growing in the area again. I then cemented the bricks in and continued to fill the pit with sand. I then laid down the first set of pavers just to check my measurements, always 2 measurements and 1 cut. I lifted each paver, then compressed the sand, then the outer pavers I cemented to the bricks. Once the front pavers were cut, the rest fell into place. Then I noticed something. The new pavers were 450 by 450, so I chose to use them for the back. Naturally, I had to make some fillings, but since the summer house was on top of it, it would not be noticed. My job done, I was about to depart, but they asked me if I would assemble the summer house for them. I looked it over, and the only problem I saw was the sides would have to be supported before I could screw them into position. However, they said both of them would help, so reluctantly I agreed. When it came to the roof, their son came around, which I was glad, as they both struggled just to hold one panel. If you look at the summer house, you will find that some of it was painted green. Parts that have not been treated will be painted cream in due course. This also includes the top beading that is not shown here, but will be attached to the roof edging when it has been painted.